And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the participants for the second semifinal game. For the visiting team, the 5-seeded Memphis Tigers. Head coach in her 6th season, Natalie Poole. Assistant head coach, Andy Locke. Assistant coach, Ellen Renfro-Reed. And volunteer assistant coach, Daniel Stockdale. And now the reserve players for Memphis. Double 0, Katie Brignac. Number 3, Callie Irvin. Number 9, Molly Smith. Number 13, Sarah Ann Davidson. Number 15, Jessie Lamb. Number 16, Ashton Graves. Number 18, Rebecca Melton. Number 20, Bailey Wisher. Number 26, Diomara Santiago. And number 44, Tori Harris. And now the Tigers starting lineup. Leading off a junior shortstop from Houma, Louisiana, number 1, Kyler Trosclair. Batting second, a junior right fielder from Collierville, Tennessee, number 6, Addison Maxwell. Batting third, a senior center fielder from Houma, Louisiana, number 8, Lindsey Gruddick. Batting fourth, a sophomore and a designated player from Lakewood, California, number 33, Tyler Johnson. Batting fifth, a senior first baseman from Kingston, Tennessee, number 21, Lindsey Stickrock. Batting sixth, a sophomore catcher from Georgetown, Indiana, number 11, Reagan Hadley. Batting seventh, a freshman third baseman from Louisville, Kentucky, number 12, Aaron Parker. Batting eighth, a junior second baseman from Royal, Louisiana, number 23, Brooks Lee. Batting ninth, a redshirt senior left fielder from Ashland, Mississippi, number 7, Hannah Harrell. And on the mound for Memphis with a record of 9-12, a redshirt junior from Nevada, Missouri, number 2, Christian Novak. And now for the introductions of the home team, the number 1 seed, Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Head coach in his 12th season, John Barthel. Associate head coach, Chrissy Trimble. Assistant coach, Kendra Cole. And assistant coach, Joanna Strong. And now the reserve players for Tulsa. Number 1, Michaela Whitten. Number 3, Kelsey Roken. Number 4, Madison Higley. Number 8, Lauren Lomax. Number 16, Ashley Kaiser. Number 30, Brittany Walker. Number 58, Sarah Satata. And number 99, Lexi Levin. And now the Golden Hurricanes starting lineup. Leading off, a sophomore left fielder from Ennis, Texas, number 55, Julia Hollingsworth. Batting second, a senior third baseman from Arlington, Texas, number 20, Maggie Whitty. Batting third, a sophomore first baseman from Van Buren, Arkansas, number 6, Tori Stafford. Batting fourth, a sophomore and a designated player from Houston, Texas, number 15, Haley Minen. Batting fifth, a senior right fielder from Arlington, Texas, number 5, Maddie Whitty. Batting sixth, a sophomore second baseman from Springdale, Arkansas, number 17, Morgan Neal. Batting seventh, a sophomore catcher from Houston, Texas, number 22, Riley Fell. Batting eighth, a junior shortstop from Independence, Missouri, number 2, Shannon Hughes. Batting ninth, a junior center fielder from Las Vegas, Nevada, number 12, Shelby Estevado. And on the mound for Tulsa with a record of 26-4, a junior from Edmond, Oklahoma, number 25, Emily Watson. The umpires for today's game: behind the plate, Chelsea Clark. At first base, Aaron Ellar, and at third base, James Connors. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor those who have served and are serving in our armed forces with the playing of our national anthem. Let's play ball.
Hello and welcome to an overcast afternoon in Greenville, North Carolina, as we get set for the one semifinal game of the day between the Tulsa Golden Hurricane and the Memphis Tigers. I'm Jeff Private alongside Eric Lopez, and immediately a ground ball to second, and quickly one up and one down for the Memphis Tigers, who are in the blue tops, black pants, the regular season champ Tulsa Golden Hurricane, and the all whites this afternoon. And Eric, two teams a little bit different. Tulsa looking for their third straight championship appearance. The Tigers were their first American Conference tournament win yesterday, looking to advance to a championship for the first time in their brief program history.
No question, Jeff, and getting here in different ways. Tulsa yet to play in this tournament. They got the bye as a result of winning the regular season championship, so they get their first action here today, while Memphis already played, as you mentioned yesterday, knocking off USF in a very impressive performance, 7-0 to get here.
So Emily Watson is in the circle today for the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, and there is a strike on the outer half now, 1-1. So there is Watson, Spell behind the plate, Stafford at first, Neal at second, Hughes at short, Maggie Withy at third, Hollingsworth at left, Estacado in center, and Maddie Withy in right field for the Golden Hurricane. 1-1 reaches out, fouls it out of play. Now a little bit of a mist before today's game. They brought the tarp one for a while just to reduce the moisture on the infield. Interesting thing for me to see early in this ball game, if the Tigers are able to put runners on base, if that affects the running game at all today.
That's a great point with the weather. You don't know how the dirt is. Will it slow them down a little bit? The lights are on, too, in the stadium. As you see, Watson gets the strikeout, the reigning pitcher of the year. The American Conference does get second out there and really shutting down Trosclair and Maxwell here early on.
Well, that's how it's played out so far on the adjusted bracket this week.
Houston very impressive in this tournament, shutting out Connecticut 7-0 and then knocking off the host team East Carolina 6-0. Savannah heaved their two shutouts. They'll await the winner of this game tomorrow in a very unique situation as a result of the bracket where Houston gets their bye today. So they get a day of rest to get prepared for the championship game, and there you see them right there. Some of them, their coaching staff and players get here in the stadium warming up and scouting this game.
0-1 here to Lindsey Crowdis. Takes it down and away. Crowdis 455, 421 when with two outs. Emily Watson this year 26-4, 103 ERA and 33 appearances and 30 starts. Also has a pair of saves as well. 1-1 from Watson as Crowdis will take it up high and works ahead in the count.
Crowdis, the co-American Player of the Year, and one of the keys for Watson this season, of course, shutting down Trosclair. Got Trosclair in that first pitch, ground out, the first team all-conference, getting these Memphis hitters at the top of the order off the base pads when Crowdis is at the plate.
2-1 shows bunt, fouls it straight down. That'll even things up now at 2-2.
These two teams played back on March 31st and April 1st up in Tulsa. Tulsa winning 2 out of 3 in that series. Watson winning both of those games, only giving up 1 run to Memphis.
That's interesting today because Watson gets the start for Tulsa. Novak will get the start for Memphis. Swing and a miss at a quick 1-2-3 inning for Watson. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. We played a half inning here in the semifinals. No score between the Tigers and the Golden Hurricane on the American Digital Network.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
There you can see overcast skies. We had pretty much sunny skies the first 2 days of the tournament, Eric, and we moved it up. The league did to try to stay away from the weather. Looks like it's going to work out well. I don't think we'll have to worry about anything today, but as you see, Christian Novak will get the start. She didn't get the start yesterday. A little bit of tightness in the back, and we'll see how she does today.
It's big for Memphis to get her back because when these two teams play back up in Tulsa earlier this year, it was Novak that shut out this Golden Hurricane offense to get them that win, and really had a pitcher's duel against Watson in the final game of that series. Pitched 2 games in the same day because they played a doubleheader on April 1st. She shut out Tulsa 4-0, and then had a pitcher's duel against Watson, losing only 2-1. So she's had success against this Tulsa lineup, and that's big. That certainly Natalie Poole has her today.
So here is Novak's first pitch, up and out to Julia Hollingsworth, who hits .378, a .493 leadoff hitter.
Such a big part of this Tulsa offense. Hollingsworth, just a sophomore. Very versatile, hitting in that leadoff spot. Really sets the tone for this Tulsa offense.
Swing and a miss. Went after what high that time, 1-1.
It'll be interesting to see Novak early. You mentioned with the back tightness. How does she look? Does she look comfortable? Is she hitting her spots early? And I'm sure the coaching staff will be looking very closely as well. Because they got Molly Smith ready to go if they don't like what they see.
1-1. And gets a strike called on the outer half. It looks pretty sharp through 3 batters so far, or 3 pitches so far. A little bit of a slight breeze blowing out today on the overcast afternoon. As Eric mentioned, the lights are on here. Just the 1 game today here in Greenville. The winner moves on to tomorrow's championship. The 1-2. There's a line drive just foul at third. Reached out with the opposite way with it, just past Parker over at third base.
Hollingsworth leads Tulsa in just about most of the important offensive categories, and impressive for just a sophomore, but she's made an immediate impact going back to last year even when she was a freshman, helping them to win that conference tournament in Tulsa to get the NCAA tournament bid, and helping them this year winning the regular season title.
1-2 now from Novak. Comes inside. Now 2-2. And both teams, Eric, pretty loose today. Memphis has their first tournament win in the American. You throw it out there against the regular season champ. Tulsa sitting at 37 wins. Win or lose, should be an NCAA team this year. Obviously, you want to win the tournament. You'd like to get that championship trophy. Called strike 3 on the outside. Nice pitch from Novak.
Good start for Novak, hitting that corner. That's a good sign if you're a Memphis fan. Look at this replay right here. Right on the corner spot where she wanted it. And Hollingsworth knew about it right there for the strikeout. Big start for Novak there.
Maggie Withy, the third baseman, .372 on the season. Was an all-conference performer a year ago as well when she started all 56 games. So the left-hander digs in, comes inside, trying to move up with the slap, takes it inside, and a 1-0 count quickly on Withy. Tulsa hits 283 as a team, 23 home runs this year, 51 doubles for this Golden Hurricane offense. Talk about plate discipline, 129 walks, only 179 strikeouts. They're a very good contact team. Off speed, upstairs, 2-0.
They don't have the depth as far as power that they've maybe some other Tulsa teams in the past, as right now you're going to see a meeting in the circle. Looks like Ellen Renfro, the assistant coach, will come out here to talk to Novak. But Tulsa has good contact. They play for hit and runs and scratch out some runs. They certainly, as you mentioned, don't strike out a ton. Very disciplined under, of course, head coach John Barfield, who has done a magnificent job winning, of course, coaching staff of the year this season. It's just built a perennial team in Tulsa that's been to the NCAA tournament 8 times and playing in their 3rd straight American Conference Championship. And you see the lineup, the Withey sisters. You've got the slap hitter and the power hitter in Withey. Stafford has some pop, but certainly it'll be interesting how Novak hits Spell and Hughes and Estacado. Those are the bottom order. You got to shut them down so that way Hollingsworth doesn't hit with runners on.
2-0. Strike on the high outside corner.
And Tulsa's the type of team that will like to take pitches early, make the pitchers work early, see what they have that day, and they'll adjust as the game goes on.
2-1 from Novak. Strike taken on the outside again, now 2-2. And that's a good strategy. Work that pitch count a little bit. But what it allows Tulsa to do is for Novak to bring that ball a little bit closer to the zone, kind of groove it to you if they can take enough pitches. 2-2 from Novak. Reaches out, fouls it out of play to the left side.
Very interesting contrast. You have Memphis, who played here yesterday, getting an emotional win, getting that first tournament win in the American Athletic Conference. And then Tulsa, that hasn't played. They haven't played since Sunday. They traveled and got in Wednesday night. But, how do they come out?
2-2. Ground ball, base hit through the right side. So a one-out hit for Maggie Withey into right field. That'll bring up Tori Stafford.
Good piece of hitting by Withey. Pulling that ball down between past first base. You can see her right here. Contact, and it just goes with the pitch, drills it into the right side, past the first baseman to get the hit.
Talk about Tulsa not playing until today. This would have been their regular scheduled day. They'd have played a little bit later on the original bracket, but it just seems so much longer since we had a couple of the quarterfinal games on Tuesday moved up. Stafford stands in. Maggie Withey takes her lead over first. Tulsa stolen 35 bases. They've been caught 14 times this year. That one will just miss. Withey 5 for 5 on stolen bases this season. One-0. Reaches out, and it's going to be a caught strike on the outer portion of the plate. Hadley, meanwhile, has thrown out 8 of 59 this year.
It's been misty rain with today. You wonder if both teams will be a little, at least Tulsa will be more conservative on the base pads. They don't depend on the run as much as Memphis does, and that's going to be interesting. How does Memphis, I don't see Memphis changing their ways. I think they're going to be still aggressive, but you do wonder if maybe this will affect this game, have an impact. I don't think so. The field looks very good. Tulsa doesn't depend on the run, on the stealing bases as much, so I don't think they will be affected.
I don't think they'll hold up. 12 base hits yesterday, all were singles. They must run to be successful. 1-2 now to Stafford. Leaves it low, 2-2.
Of course, for Memphis, it's not like they play in perfect weather all year round, right. So it's not the first time they've had to deal with these type of conditions. They just played at Connecticut in Stores over the weekend where they won 2 out of 3.
2-2. Comes up and in. There is a base hit, tucks it just inside the left field line. Got up under a little bit, but hit it in no man's land, and Stafford singles to left field, so the Golden Hurricane have something going early here.
Sometimes you're better off not hitting the ball as well as you would like. Because here's a pitch by Novak. Goes inside, and then the muscling the ball into left field, and it finds just the right spot. Fair territory for a hit.
Haley Bynum, 279, but a 350 hitter with runners in scoring position.
Transferred out of the University of Arkansas, has made an immediate impact, not only pitching but hitting.
Has the home run, 8 driven in, fouls that one off the handle.
We wondered how Tulsa would come out not having to play the tournament game, and so far so good for Tulsa. Making contact, getting a couple of hits here and threatening early. And if for Novak, you got to kind of do what Molly Smith did yesterday in the first inning against South Florida. Similar situation, little trouble early, got out of that jam and settled in.
0-1 inside for the strike. Yesterday, bases loaded, 1 out, and Smith worked out of it.
And never looked back. Shutting out the
you're right. She didn't get in another jam the rest of the ball game. 0-2. Just down and away. Couldn't get Bynum to go after it. So again, Novak has a sign from Hadley. First and second, just 1 out, bottom of the first. Off the plate, 2-2, so she's gone outside a couple of times, and Bynum, being very disciplined, has worked it back even after getting down early in the count.
It has. They've laid off that away pitch. See if Novak tries to go inside here.
2-2, way inside that time.
So she did make the adjustment, go inside, but we're way inside, trying to jam her, but nothing doing. And now you got a big 3-2 pitch. What repertoire does Novak go to here? Does she try to go upstairs maybe to get Bynum to chase?
3-2, popped her up to the right side. Stick rod and Lee, and it's not gonna drop in and it'll just be foul according to the home plate umpire.
Well, very fortunate for Memphis that it was foul. Not sure what had looked like hesitation between Stickrod and Lee. You see Stickrod backpedaling a little bit, doesn't have a good angle of it, and I think Lee thought Stickrod had it. No communication there. I guarantee you got to communicate. Who's got that ball? Now, see Stickrod's backpedaling, and all of a sudden Lee's right behind her. Fortunately for Memphis, that goes foul.
And usually your second baseman has the better angle. I know that's probably what Lee was thinking. Stickrod just did not give way, and it's just, as you mentioned, a matter of who's calling it and who's saying, I got it. And they're very fortunate. That ball just a few inches foul.
Now, if you're Novak, you got to put that behind you. You can't let that kind of frustrate you a little bit. You made the pitch you wanted, just didn't get the result you wanted. Now you just got to execute here on this big 3-2 pitch.
Now we'll do it again. The 3-2. Comes upstairs and the bases are loaded. Now the exact same situation as yesterday for the Memphis Tigers. They face bases loaded and just 1 out.
Went back upstairs, too high this time now. Bases loaded and 1 out for Maddie Withy, the senior. And a huge opportunity early here for Tulsa.
Maddie Withy, 295, a 571 hitter when the bases are loaded. They'll draw the infield in. First pitch. Misses high.
Well, it's deja vu. Yesterday, Molly Smith struggling to find the zone in the first inning. You mentioned bases loaded, 1 out, got out of it, and eventually found it. Can Novak find it here like Molly Smith did yesterday?
1-0, popped it up, left side. Back it short is Trosclair. That's the second out.
And that's a start. Jammed her and popped her up to get the second out. And it's clear Novak's going to challenge the Tulsa hitters trying to go inside and jam them. You know, had a bad break on one of them where the ball drops on the left line there that wasn't well hit.
Morgan Neal, the second baseman, 275. He's not had a hit with the bases loaded this year. She's trying to break through there. Just a 241 hitter, though, with runners in scoring position. So here's where Novak really needs to challenge the left-hander. 1-0 from Novak. And there's a base hit off the middle. 1 run's going to score. 2 runs and now 3 as it's misplayed by Crowdis in center field. Here comes a throw to third, and she slides around the tag, and that is a costly misplay in center field for Memphis. Big hit, though, by Morgan Neal.
You just said Jen had a hit with the bases loaded this year?
Now she does.
She just wanted to save it for the postseason, that's all. Big hit for her with Neal. And let's look at what happens here as the ball goes in the outfield. You see Neal there, good swing, dropping the ball in there for a hit, big 2-out hit. Now, if the ball's going to left center, let's look at Crowdis, one of the best center fielders in the conference. Ball just gets past her, didn't just get down enough. And I don't know, maybe I think she underestimated how that ball was going so fast. You know, sometimes as an outfielder, you know, there's a slick, maybe grass, you're thinking the ball goes slower, and so you don't anticipate it being that fast on you.
Well, when it gets wet, too, that ball kind of skids. It didn't take the normal hop like it does on a dry surface to just skid it between the legs. Still a play you got to make.
Well, and it's tough, and they did rule it an error because if she makes that play, she probably holds them to maybe 1 or 2 runs. It allows that big third run and a big hit for Tulsa, and that's going to be it for Kristen Novak as Coach Natalie Pohl, knowing that you can't fall too far behind Tulsa, is going to go to the hot hand in yesterday, Molly Smith.
Molly Smith coming in as the Golden Hurricane lead it 3-0 in the first on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Three 3-0 Golden Hurricane, and I know Novak very disappointed. Loaded the bases up, nearly got out of that jam, but a big 2-out hit by Morgan Neal and an error leads to 3 runs for the Golden Hurricane. And Molly Smith yesterday, 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts, was outstanding. She's got to find a way to stop Tulsa and keep it a 3-0 game. We know how potent the Memphis offense can be, but if you're a hit-and-run type offense, that usually favors if you're playing from ahead. You don't have that big home run hitter that you can get a 3-run bomb.
You're absolutely correct on that. And you're facing, oh, by the way, the pitcher of the year in the conference in Emily Watson.
Off speed, fouled straight back now. 1-1 to Riley Spell, a 205 hitter.
In Novak's defense, a couple of defensive plays that weren't made behind her didn't help her. So that's sometimes unfortunate. But Tulsa has now already scored more runs in this inning than they did against Novak in 2 games in the regular season.
The big one, I think, as you take a look at this pitch.
Oh,
right on the mask.
That's why they wear them.
Really, the big play was when Minen popped up on the 3-2, and they didn't make the catch in foul territory. That put her on to load the bases.
The following pitch could have been an out there.
Swinging to the foul ball as Hadley takes another foul ball. First off the basket, fouled right back into it.
There's not a tougher player on the field than the catcher. I will always say that. Considering what they have to go through in a 7-inning game, or even baseball's case, 9 innings.
1-2. She crushed that one foul. I can assure you both catchers today very happy with the cooler weather.
Yeah, it's a great point.
They may be the only players happy it's a little bit cooler today, but they are happy. They have a little bit of a cool spell. About 57 degrees just before the game. Cloudy skies. Every now and then there'll be a little bit of a mist, but it's going to be a humid afternoon here. 1-2, high and outside. Now a 2-2 count to spell. So again, Molly Smith, the new pitcher who threw the shutout yesterday, and the win over USF. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Struck her out to get out of the inning, but some damage is done. 3 runs on 3 hits. There was an error and 1 left on base. After 1 inning, the Golden Hurricane lead it 3-0 on the American Digital Network.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone. Double play ball potentially striking Stalls over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Regular season champ Tulsa Golden Hurricane out to a 3-0 lead as we move to the top half of the second inning here in Greenville at an amazing ECU softball complex, an outstanding facility here in Greenville. And again, they adjusted everything and everything's worked out well. This Memphis lineup's going to have to find a way to generate some runs now, down 3-0.
Well, they depend on speed with Trosclair and, of course, Crowdis and Maxwell, but it's going to be Stickrod and Johnson and Hadley. To me, they're going to have to help them get back in this game because they're going to have to get some hits here because they're the ones that are capable of getting extra base hits and driving in runs.
Joe Johnson, the DP, 292, 500 when she leads an inning off. Didn't really see Memphis trying to lay anything down in the first as far as bunts. Now, doing that yesterday really caused a lot of havoc for USF, and they may have to try to apply a little bit of pressure to this Tulsa defense. The unfortunate thing, Tulsa pretty good, only 40 errors on the season.
Very strong defensively, fielding-wise, one of the best in the league. Well coached there, and that's the challenge for Memphis. They were attacking the Bulls. They had the Bulls defense on their heels, really thinking mentally about the runner, and rushing plays.
1-2. In fact, all 4 errors yesterday by USF caused, even the outfield error, caused by the speed of Memphis trying to rush things.
And that's what speed does. It messes with the defense mentally. It makes you force throws or rush, picking up the ball before you even have the ball.
1-2, fouled straight back.
Now, if you're Watson, you know this, that you have to shut down Johnson, Stickrod, and Hadley, because you know that Trosclair, Maxwell, and Crowdis, that's where all the speed and that's where all the mind games will be kind of dealing with. But if you shut down this portion of the lineup, there's only so much Memphis can do down 3.
1-2. Again, she stays alive.
Memphis not like a Houston or an East Carolina that can get back with a couple of swings in an inning. They're going to have to kind of build up an inning with 3 to 4 hits, do some hit and runs, straight steals.
They're a team that, as you mentioned, is going to need 2 to 3 hits to score 2 if you can get that stolen base. Unfortunately for Memphis, Tulsa doesn't give away a lot of free bases. We mentioned just the 40 errors, only 87 walks by the Golden Hurricane pitching staff this season.
And that's the key. You want to make Memphis earn it if you're Watson. You don't want to give free passes. Make him put the ball in play and let your defense that's very good behind you make the plays.
So Johnson trying to battle, has fouled a few off, 2-2 now. Drops it in there, called strike 3. Nice pitch that time by Watson. She struck out 3 straight.
She looks locked in early, and as you look at this replay, this is vintage Emily Watson. Off speed, nothing Johnson could do but look at it to get the strikeout. Watson last weekend at home against UCF lost on Senior Day. It was the last home game of the season. Got beat by UCF, didn't finish the game. I think in a strange way, Jeff, that might have been the best thing that happened to Watson because Now you come refocus, you're resharp. You're like, okay, I'm ready to go for the tournament now. Everything I've been doing so well. She had this long win streak going into that weekend. Now that's all off the table. You don't have to worry about that stuff. You just worry about pitching in this one and trying to lead this team to a championship. Last year, she was the number 2 behind Caitlin Sill. She won the opening game of the conference tournament, a 1-0 game against East Carolina, and then watched Caitlin Sill throw 2 shutouts in the semis against UCF and in the championship game against USF. So she knows what she has to do to be successful in postseason.
Lindsay Stickrod down 0-2 in the count, a 283 hitter. Leaves it outside now, 1-2. Never like to take that loss, but it's kind of like you mentioned, we're hitting that reset button, especially late in the year. 1-2 to Stickrod. Watson comes inside, just caught a piece of it.
And the same for the Tulsa as a team. They lost the series to UCF 2 out of 3. They already had the regular season title wrapped up, but losing 2 out of 3, that could you refocus as a team. We always see that a lot in college basketball, Jeff, or sometimes coaches when they lose in a conference tournament or say, that might be the best thing that happened to us because it refocused us going into the NCAA tournament. Same thing, I think, for Tulsa.
1-2. Here to Stickrod. Again, nobody on and 1 down. Goes after one outside. They'll have to throw her out. Yeah, that's going to be the 4th consecutive strikeout now by Watson.
And with a 3-run lead, Watson can expand the strike zone now. She can be even more aggressive and throw pitches away from the strike zone, just like this right here. That's way in the dirt. And the hitter already commits to it right there. It's too late. Oh, now I got to run to first base. That's what she's thinking. And there's the strikeout. That's going to be the challenge now at Memphis, is that Watson will expand the zone here, make you chase stuff outside the strike zone.
And the first pitch on the way is a strike to Reagan Hadley, a 261 hitter. Well, when you're as sharp as Watson is today, you're also going to get the benefit of a doubt on a borderline call throughout the ball game. And so, as you mentioned, that's just going to expand for her today. Up and out now, 1-1.
And it's so cliche, but that's why scoring early, scoring first is so pivotal, because it does. As a pitcher, it could change your strategy. Oh, I got 3 runs to play with, so I can be more, daring and go away from the strike zone than I would maybe if it was a scoreless game or if I'm behind.
1-2, and she's a strike away from getting out of the second. Looking for that 5th consecutive strikeout. Trosclair, the only Tiger to put a ball in play. She grounded out to second to start the ball game. 1-2, there it is. Strikes out the side in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We're going to the bottom of the second. 3-0 Golden Hurricane on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
Thanks for joining us on the American Digital Network. It's semifinal number 2 of the American Championship, Tulsa versus Memphis, here in the bottom of the second. And before today's game, I had a chance to catch up with Tulsa head coach John Barfelt. He said that he's just excited, him and his team are excited rather, just to be in the tournament. It's a little bit weird, he said, that 4 teams have already gone home and they haven't even played a game yet. But in terms of the weather today, they feel pretty comfortable playing in this light rain. They had this same situation at UConn not too long ago, so they'll look to limit the mistakes today as the weather weather is fresh in their mind from those games.
Thanks a lot, Haley. We'll check back in with Haley a little bit later as the Golden Hurricane up 3-0. And Molly Smith got the Tigers out of a jam an inning ago. And she'll need to be in that form here to keep this a 3-0 game. John Barfeld right there. Got to be happy with it he sees early in this ball game.
Yeah, he may not look happy there, but he is. Trust me. He's always business-like. One of the best coaches, not only in this league, but in the country. But you're right, Molly Smith has to be just as sharp as she was yesterday because the way Emily Watson has looked so far through the first 2 innings, it will not be easy to get hits off of her.
There's a drive down the left field line. It's going to be fair, and it's going to be a leadoff double for Shannon Hughes. Second double of the game for the Golden Hurricane. That'll bring up Shelby Estacado.
Jumped on this first pitch. Drilled it to the left side. And the ball is going super fast in the outfield. And you're there. Bobble right there. You see the bobble right there. Ball is jumping on the grass there. And the Memphis outfielders, I think, are having a hard time right now making the adjustment there on the ball in the outfield.
So Estacado looking to drive in a run or advance a run. That one is fouled straight down.
Now that little bobble didn't cost her because the runner was going to go to second anyway on the double. But you see the bunt here.
Wow.
Oh. Had it right there and looks to be okay, Estacado.
Oh, wide up and out. Well, the ball's going to move quicker to the outfield for either team. Once it hits that wet grass, again, it goes from just kind of a hop or a roll. It just skids on you, and you've got to keep that glove down.
And I wonder, with Memphis playing yesterday, maybe they were thinking the conditions would be similar to yesterday. They have not, figured that. Of course, they don't play here often, except every other year. A team like East Carolina would probably have knows that. And remember, the tarp was on before the game, so you didn't get the normal lot of reps maybe with the outfield that normally you would.
2-1 from Smith. Goes upstairs, 3-1. A hitter's count now to the 9-hole hitter, Shelby Estacado, hitting 199 on the year. And quickly, Hadley out to talk to Molly Smith. Now, we saw Tulsa here yesterday watching the game, so they got to see all of Molly Smith yesterday and what they've done, especially Shannon Hughes, try to jump on her early, not let her to establish the strike zone. That's what she was able to do yesterday.
Absolutely. And they beat Molly Smith earlier this season, so they've seen her. And you're right, they're going to be looks like they'll be more aggressive on her.
3-1 walk. Golden Hurricane.
Now batting for Tulsa.
The opportunity now with the 8-9 hitters on base, set the table for the top of the order. They can blow this thing open real quick.
That's why I talked about it in the last inning that Memphis had to make sure that Bell, Hughes, and Estacado didn't get on base. You didn't want to face Hollingsworth and Maggie Withy with runners on base, and now you got to deal with Hollingsworth here with 2 on and nobody out.
Hollingsworth 0 for 1, struck out looking an inning ago. Strike called to the outside of the left-hander. Hollingsworth, one of the tri-leaders at home runs with 5 on the year in the leadoff position. Oh, 1 turns, bunt third base side. That's going to advance the runners. Everyone's safe. A throw into right field's going to score another run for Tulsa. And a overthrow here. It's going to be a 2-error play. 2-run score for Tulsa. And 2 costly errors on the same play for the Memphis Tigers has opened the game up for the Golden Hurricane. They have an early 5-0 lead.
Things unraveling for Memphis here defensively. Let's look at this beautiful bunt by Hollingsworth, and it puts a ton of pressure and an errant throw by Parker there into the outfield. And then the throw home is wide, and nobody's backing up the play. And now Tulsa gets 2 runs on that play. It looks to me like Memphis is now pressing all of a sudden. They fell behind early in the first inning. They're over-pressing, maybe overthinking. I don't know if it's a situation where, wow, we're in the semifinal, we're a win away from playing the championship game or what, or if the weather conditions have thrown them off. But they are not playing as sharp as they did yesterday, which I thought was the best they played all year. And I think if you're Natalie Poole, you're kind of like wondering, like, what's going on here?
It looks like they're rushing things, much like USF did against
Ironic,
Memphis last year. So it should go down as an RBI single for Hollingsworth. Then the error allowed Hughes to score. Then the E9 allows Estacado to come in and score.
And I think Natalie Poole is trying to tell her team, settle down here. Let's just make the plays that we're accustomed to making.
Runner at second, nobody out. And you're still one batter away from getting into the heart of the order in 3, 4, and 5. Now Maggie Withy, who singled and scored an inning ago, is at the plate. Came in at 372. She's up to 376 now, and a dangerous hitter with the runners on base at 416.
Making first-team all-conference for the second year in a row.
1-0, ground ball off the middle, base hit. Let's see if they send Hollingsworth. They are, and now they'll slam the brakes on quickly. Crowdis in. Gets the throw up the line to stop Hollingsworth from scoring.
I think Coach Bartfeld not going to challenge Crowdis and her brilliant arms. That's a great arm, Crowdis does. Plus, there's nobody out. No need to do that. But again, Maggie Withy, first-team all-conference 2 years in a row. Vintage right there. Just putting the ball play right down the middle, past the defense. And you see Crowdis coming in here, and they're not going to challenge her throw, not with nobody out. And the momentum clearly on their side. And with first and third and nobody out, and Withy at first, will not be surprised if they try to steal second here and really put pressure on Memphis defensively.
Joy Stafford now you're at the heart of the order. 3, 4, and 5. Stafford 1 for 1. 378 with runners in scoring position. Takes the ball inside. Saw Hollingsworth come around third on that replay and stop. They do have the turf apron in the foul portion of the infield, so you really don't have to worry too much on wet grass from slipping. It's easy to slam on the brakes even in rain here. 1-0. Popped it up out of play to the left side. See the turf in the foul area there. Goes to the natural grass in the outfield. See more and more, not only softball, but baseball complexes have that turf in the foul territory. 1-1. Strike call on the outside.
And right now, Molly Smith just got to settle down here. Just get it out. Get it out right now. Things haven't gone well here so far in this inning.
Now we got some confusion.
Well,
on the
Memphis,
outs.
because some people were saying there was one out.
I've got none, Eric. Not that I am not the official.
And now the umpires are going to discuss that.
Let's see. Hughes double. Estacado walk. Single by Hollingsworth. Single by Withy.
That's what I've got.
No outs on the bases either.
More importantly, that's what the umpires have. That's why you score it for a reason. And that tells you how long this inning has been for Memphis. You're like, wait, there's no out still?
Look, if they'd have looked up here and asked, they'd have been in real trouble. 1-2. High fly ball to left field. Harrell, let's see if they tag up. Makes the catch. They will tag. Here comes the throw. Cut off. And it'll be a sac fly for Stafford to left field as Stafford will drive in her 18th run of the year. And Hollingsworth comes in to score. Maggie Withy goes to second. And it's a 6-0 Tulsa lead.
Good contact there made to get that run in to left field. And Stafford get the 6th run in. And good base running by Withy to take second as the throw came in. Really, the throw should have probably come into second to try to keep her at first.
Here's Minan, who drew the walk after a misplayed ball in foul territory an inning ago. Now, they made that out, and you never know if Maddie Withy would then pop, fly out to short the next batter. But if you just go by the scorecard, they could have got out of the inning scoreless, but instead it ended up being a 3-run inning in the first. One-0 shows bunt. Tails outside, 2-0.
Showing bunt there, I think, to see what Memphis would do defensively. Right now, Memphis, they're trying to communicate defensively. You could tell they're a little bit on their heels right now after a couple of the misplays. Trying to make sure they're on the same page.
That one is chop foul past third. Wouldn't be surprised if Minot kind of flashes that bunt again. You've got Maggie with you with 5 stolen bases on the season out at second base, and right now you've got the momentum going.
Big time here, trying to put the knockout punch early. You could not have asked for a better start if you're a Tulsa fan. 3 in the first, 3 in the second. You wondered how they would come out, coming off the bye. They've come out ready to go.
Well, it's always a double-edged sword if you're a number 1 seed and you have a bye and you have to wait for a lot of the teams to play. Swing and a miss, goes outside, strikes her out. There's 2 outs, and now Maddie Withy will come up. Either you're going to figure you had too long of a layoff, a little rusty, or else you've got a lot of recovery time, and today they look really fresh.
They really do. Good pitch here by Smith to get the strikeout off Minot and get away. They're now 2 outs. You're an out away from just getting out of this inning and regroup.
First pitch up and out for a ball.
And we talked about Tulsa's doing a great job putting the ball in play. When you put the ball in play, you're putting pressure on the defense to make plays.
And when Watson comes out, she's going to have at least a 6-run lead. Talking about being able to pound the strike zone early. That's exactly what she'll be able to do. There's a strike on the inside. Now Smith looks like she's getting a little bit more comfortable finding that zone. And as we mentioned, as she finds a strike zone, Tulsa not hanging back. They're not up there to take a lot of balls out. They're the aggressor. 1-1. Up and in, misses. And Tulsa's opened the game up early. Two, 1, a hitter's count. Now 3-1. Yeah, Maddie Withy can sit on one right down the middle.
Certainly will have the green light to do so. He's still got the runner at second. Memphis looks a little shell-shocked to me right now defensively. I don't think they even imagine how they've gotten to this point.
3-1, popped it up in the infield. They'll give way to Lee from second. That will end the inning, but another 3 runs. They did it on 3 hits, a couple of Memphis errors, and 1 left on. We played 2 innings, and Tulsa already with a 6-0 lead on the American Digital Network.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
We're heading into the top of the third. Tulsa up 6-0 over the Memphis Tigers in the American Championship semifinal. Now, yesterday I had a chance to talk to Memphis head coach Natalie Poole, and she said she was so excited for her program to finally get that first tournament win under their belt. It was a huge weight off of their shoulders, but she knew it would be a quick turnaround in getting ready for today to take on the regular season champions Tulsa. And when I talked to Coach Poole, she said that she knew they needed to do 2 things today. They had to pitch well and they had to play defense well, 2 things that they've been struggling with so far. The rain is kind of off and on. It's really misty down here. It's really slick, so those errors in the outfield has to have maybe affected their confidence a little bit, but they'll need to look to Molly Smith to hopefully have the performance she did yesterday and for their offense to get something rolling pretty soon.
Thank you very much, Haley. You're exactly right. Already down 6-0. They've got to find a way not only to start generating some offense, they've got to start holding Tulsa at bay at this point. Here is Parker. Parker, 225 on the season. A 1-1 count here, and Watson has been outstanding. She struck out the last 5 Tigers she's faced.
And if you're Emily Watson, this game now becomes about being pitch cost efficient, if you will. In other words, you want to get out quickly. You don't, because you're probably going to, if you win this game, and it's early, I know it's only in the third inning, but if you're Tulsa, you're thinking you've got a championship game tomorrow potentially if you hold on here and get a victory. And if you're Emily Watson, you know you're going to get that ball tomorrow. You don't want to have to force throwing a lot of pitches here.
2-1 fouled off, so she'll pound the strike zone, let her defense work here. Again, with only 40 errors, best defense in the league, and what Watson hopes as well, her offense keeps rolling, and this is a shortened ball game before tomorrow.
Because a lot of times pitchers, when they have a big lead, actually that's the hardest time to pitch because, I've got a breathing room here. Maybe I could be perfect here, try to just be the perfect pitcher. You don't have to be perfect.
2-2, fouls it off the handle.
The other challenge is you've had a long inning from your offense, which is a good problem, but sometimes pitchers, that throws off their routine and their rhythm. So that's the other thing that Watson will be dealing with here. And if you're Memphis, you're just trying to throw off her rhythm and maybe take a step out of the batter's box here and there, take a pitch or two. If you're Memphis, you're just going to need base runners. It's going to take one at-bat at a time.
It's easier said than done, but you got to find a way to get her out of her cadence.
Yeah.
2-2, fouls it again, and right now Erin Parker doing a nice job of battling with Watson, fouling several of these pitches off, trying to extend this plate appearance.
And that's what you got to do if you're Memphis. Put some pressure on Watson, fight off some pitches. Maybe she starts missing the zone, you get some runners on, and chip away. You're going to have to chip away. You're not going to, but hopefully set up a big inning like you did yesterday against South Florida. We got that big 5-run inning.
2-2. Another foul ball. Watson very comfortable in this scenario, as you mentioned, the pitcher of the year, but also in the all-tournament team a season ago, so she's very comfortable in postseason play.
Pitched a shutout against East Carolina. A 1-0 game was a pitcher's duel against Lydia Ritchie. In that quarterfinal game at home, it was the last game of the day, and there was a lot of pressure. There's pressure when you're hosting because, hey, you're the host. You got to win games.
2-2 and another foul ball by Parker.
And last year was unique because Tulsa was on the bubble as far as the NCAA tournament. A lot of people felt they needed to win the conference tournament to just get into the NCAA tournament. That is not the case this year. But that was a huge win for Watson because East Carolina was ready. They could have easily have lost that game. So while Caitlin Sill got the tournament MVP, rightfully so, for throwing 2 shutouts, they don't win the championship last year without Watson.
Another foul ball, 2-2. Again, only one Tigers put a ball in play. Trosclair grounded a second to start the game. Since then, 5 consecutive strikeouts. 2-2.
Plus, a lot of these veterans still motivated from 2 years ago in Orlando, where they were in the championship game against UCF, which is a top 15 team in the country, won the regular season title. Caitlin Sill against Shelby Turnier, and they lost on a walk-off home run by Samantha McCloskey in the bottom of the 7th in that championship game.
Ground ball right side, and she legs it out. The infield single by Erin Parker, and that's what Memphis has got to do if they're going to jump back into this ball game.
And that's vintage. That's Memphis softball. Put the ball in play, use your wheels, get on base, put pressure on the defense. Good start for the Tigers here in the third inning to get that first hit. You see Parker hustling there, able to beat it out. Good call there, easily beating out that play of Stafford, right, trying to lean there, dive, too late for Stafford.
Now, usually you would take a look at the situation and say a team doesn't want to run itself into outs down 6-0, but that's how Memphis has got to generate offense here, down 6-0.
Especially near the bottom of the order.
And Natalie Poole's club really no choice but to take some chances here.
But again, if you're Memphis, you're hoping that Lee can get on, just flip the order to Trosclair and Maxwell, and crowd is hit with runners on. That's your best shot.
1 misses inside, 1-1.
But to go back to the story with Tulsa, this is a lot of these players that are on the field today were on the field in Orlando when McCloskey hit the walk-off home run in the bottom of the 7th, and Tulsa's season ended that day. There was devastation on that team and a tough loss, and they've used that for motivation going back to last year. And I don't think they want to go through that feeling this year.
1-2 on Brooklyn.
There's not a worse feeling than losing in postseason. It's nothing like it. It's a painful situation.
1-2, swing and a miss. That's going to be strikeout number 6 for Watson.
Blew that one past her. And that's what Watson's got to do. She's got to attack these Memphis hitters right now. You've got a 6-run lead to work with. She knows that. She's just going to come out and go ahead. I dare you to hit me here.
Hannah Harrell, a 230 hitter, 261 with runners on. She's got Parker at first with 1 out. Swing and a miss on the change at timeout in front of it, 0-1.
Mentioned Tulsa used that motivation. They won the tournament last year, and now they're trying to defend it, trying to go back to back. Off to a good start here today.
When you talk about the devastation, it's one thing if you're down a few runs and you can see the end coming, but when the season ends suddenly, whether it's a walk-off or a last-second shot or a last-second field goal, then all of a sudden it just ends all of a sudden. Really just takes it out of you.
And talking to players and coaches, it's interesting. No matter how much you win, those type of losses stay with you, which is very interesting, right? You would think with if you win so much, you would think more about the wins than those losses. But those losses, for some reason, maybe because it doesn't happen often, still stays with you.
0-2 on the foul ball by Harrell. Then they've got Trosclair on deck, back to the top of the order.
But that was a team that was very young, inexperienced, and that experience has paid off for them now, and that's why they're in the run that they currently are, winning the tournament title last year and winning the regular season title this year and being the favorites in this tournament.
Infield playing her close. Up and in, that caught her. And so the Tigers have something brewing here in the third, and they'll take it any way they can get it right now, as they got her up in the arm.
Yeah, it's a good call. Looks like right by that elbow, and there's protection there. So
right up under that elbow pad, got her on the forearm.
Yeah, but that's what you want if you're Memphis. You got a couple of your hitters at the bottom of the order getting on, and now you're back at the top of the order in their first team all-conference. Trosclair at the plate.
Howens fouled off the handle, back into the left. It's pretty imperative right now not to over-dramatize the situation, but with a runner in scoring position, less than 2 outs, that Memphis find a way to get at least 1 run in, get a little bit of momentum back in the dugout.
Just start chipping away. That's kind of the key. And this is the hitters that you want to have up. Trosclair, you got and then Maxwell, potentially Crowdis, the co-player of the year. This is the part of the lineup where you're probably going to be able to get back in the game.
0-1 down and out to the lefty. Trosclair 325 with runners in scoring position. Into the corners, back up the middle. Strike on the outside. Tulsa again with 3 in the first, 3 in the second. Yeah, jumped out big on the Memphis Tigers. The 1-2. Watson with the pitch and a fly ball in the center field. Estacado up under it. And there's 2 outs.
And that's a good pitch by Watson. She gave her a pitch that all that Trosclair could do is hit a fly out. That's not Trosclair's game. Trosclair wants to put that ball on the ground and get ground ball hits. And ground ball outs, if you will, but just put the ball on the ground so she can use her speed to her advantage. She can't use her speed if the ball is popped in the air.
Addison Maxwell struck out in the first inning. 3:22 now on the season. Left-hander takes it down and away, 1-0.
It sounds strange to say that because a lot of times you always hear about, hey, pitchers need to keep the ball down, get ground ball outs. You don't want to hit a ball, to elevate. But when you're facing slap hitters, that's what you want. You don't want them to put the ball on the ground. You actually want them to pop it up.
Keep it up there, let her high, and play for the fly ball. And today, still early in the top of the third, but it doesn't seem that the ball is carrying, at least on the fly balls, like it has when it's been warmer the last 2 days when we've had a breeze blowing out of here. A little bit heavier air with the mist in the sky. 1-1 on Maxwell. Ground ball, nice backhanded play at third by Withy, on to first in time to end the inning. The Tigers get no runs on one hit, no errors, 2 left on base. On to the bottom of the third. It's 6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone. Double play ball potentially striking Stalls over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Overcast skies here as Tulsa leads at 6-0, moving to the bottom half of the third inning. They put 3 on the board in the first, 3 on the second. They've applied a lot of pressure to this Memphis Tiger ball club. This is the last of the preliminary rounds, the semifinal. Tomorrow it's championship day as the Houston Cougars are going to be waiting around. They have the off day, and it really worked out well for the other part of the bracket when they had to restructure the tournament to try to stay ahead of the weather, as they get the day off after back-to-back shutouts for the Houston Cougars.
Savannah Hebner's been the story. 2 shutouts, shutout Connecticut, and the balanced offense of Houston. A 7-0 win over Connecticut, then a 6-0 win over East Carolina, who upset UCF in the opening round of this championship tournament. And boy, Savannah Hebner doing it, pitching and doing it with her bat, hitting a 2-run homer yesterday off Lydia Ritchie. And then, of course, 3 RBIs total, 3 hits in the game. Houston clicking on all cylinders. And they'll be certainly a big-time foe tomorrow.
First pitch, rocketed foul down the right field line by Neal, who had the 2-run double back in the first inning. And that ended up being the error on Kratos that allowed 3 runs to score. She got 2 RBI out of it.
The Houston team that was loose too yesterday, playing very focused. You have to believe that Savannah will get the ball for Houston with the day off, which kind of helps them instead of her throwing 3 days in a row. She has a day off in between.
And Hebner, the front runner, early leader in the clubhouse for maybe most outstanding player of this tournament. Now, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring and how things are going to play out, but you throw 2 shutouts, you drive in 3, you have a home run already. It's pretty good a resume she's already built up. 0-2 on Neal. Just missed outside.
And if you're Tulsa, even though you're up 6-0, this is not a time to relax. First of all, teams are capable of coming back from a 6-run deficit, but at the same time, if you want to get to the championship game, you want to probably wrap this up as soon as possible and get yourself some rest, because you got to turn around with a noon start tomorrow.
1-2, fouls it straight back. So it'll remain 1-2 here on Morgan Neal.
I think if you're Tulsa, the intensity's got to stay up. Sometimes you kind of relax when you have that big lead. Hey, we got our best pitcher pitching. Let's just kind of coast. Can't do that in postseason. You never know what could happen.
1-2 up and out. I'm sure John Barfeld has stressed, hey, keep the pressure on. Let's try to put this thing away here in the next 2.5 innings. Memphis on offense got up here on in the top of the inning, unable to do anything with it. Foul ball back into the net. But again, the longer the game goes on, the more chances Memphis, when they get the runners on, are going to have to take. They're just going to have to risk being thrown out on the base pass if they're going to try to generate some offense today.
Well, you got nothing to lose if you're Memphis right now. I mean, down 6. But it starts with Molly Smith. She's got to throw some zeros here. That's really, I mean, it sounds very cliche, but it's true. You're giving up 3 in the first, 3 in the second. You have to shut this down and get a 0 so your team can start believing that you can come back.
Up and out. If she's able to throw a 0 here in the third, Memphis has the heart of their order due up in the fourth and 3, 4, and 5 in Crowdis, Johnson, and Stickrod. Full count, 3 and 2. And there is a foul ball just passed first.
Neal working the count here, making Smith working, which is a good sign because sometimes hitters get a little really overly aggressive when they have a big lead. They try to jump on pitches and go away from the game plan.
Again, Tulsa with the first round bye. First game they've played. Again, Memphis coming off that 7-0 shutout of USF yesterday afternoon. The 3-2. Fly ball in the right field. Long way to go. And it's going to be Maxwell. It makes it look easy. Look like that was going to be a little bit more shallow than it initially was. But Maxwell just a few steps up. There's one out.
We've been here since Wednesday. We've noticed right field is not the place really that you want to hit the ball this week. It's not really jumped out that much. You see the replay, it's like the fly ball that just kind of dies in right field. Left field, when the wind's blowing out, is the place to hit it. It's 220 to center, 200 to right, and 200 to left.
So nobody on and one away. Played 4 games, 2 of the higher seeds, 2 of the lower seeds have won so far. Maxwell comes up and in to Riley Spell, who struck out to end the first. Well, 0 for 1. 205 entering the tournament, now at 203 on the season. 1-0, and there's a strike called on the outside, now 1-1.
Spell is capable of hitting one out. She hit one a week ago against UCF in the regular season finale. That was the difference in the game with a 2-run homer. Tulsa beat UCF in that opener 3-0, a game that was televised here on the American Digital Network. She was a big part of that. So even though her numbers may not jump out at you, that's the thing about Tulsa. Some of their hitters will sneak up on you.
She got 5 home runs.
Yep.
1 and 2. Outside now, 2-2 count.
Just a sophomore. So a lot of time for growth here at Tulsa.
Big prep that time by Smith as she'll toe the rubber and look in. The 2-2. Popped him up, left side. Parker gives way to Trosclair, makes the catch. Well, a little miscommunication early between Stickrod and Lee. That time Trosclair, nice job to call off Parker.
Well, I guarantee you that was part of the message early on. There's got to communicate better, and Trosclair did that. The senior first team all conference at short did that. One of the best in the league. Get a big second out, and if you're Molly Smith now, you're 1 out away from putting up a 0 on the scoreboard, which will give your team some confidence moving ahead.
And the pitch, right down the middle, called strike. Hughes had the double. She was at second when Hollingsworth lugged out that single and the ball was thrown into right field. She came around to score. And that was that 2-error play that helped lead it to a 3-run second inning for Tulsa.
3 errors from Memphis in this ball game. That's what's got to be frustrating if you're Natalie Poole and the Tigers. You know Tulsa is tough to beat as it is with Emily Watson, but to get 3 errors and just help Tulsa, it's got to be the frustrating thing.
1-1 foul back, and now Molly Smith strike away from hanging that first 0 on the Golden Hurricane. And again, heart of the order due up for Memphis in the top half of the 4th.
Especially playing such a complete game yesterday against South Florida. And I think you're hoping, if you're Natalie Poole in Memphis, that you can carry that game and that momentum into today. But they just didn't get the start. They didn't get out of that first inning like they did yesterday. That's the difference. They were in a jam in the first inning yesterday. Molly Smith got out of it. Today, not so much for Novak.
Ground ball to Trosclair in time at a 1-2-3 inning for Molly Smith. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We have played 3. That's a 6-0 Golden Hurricane lead on the American Digital Network.
We are American. the conference of opportunity, the opportunity to chase dreams, the opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
We're moving on to the fourth inning here at East Carolina University at the ECU softball complex. Not only one of the best in the league, one of the best facilities in the country, and a great host for the American Conference Softball Championship here. I'm Jeff Bible alongside Eric Lopez, and here's where Memphis has to make a push here. Got to find a way to get something because you've got the heart of the order due up.
No question about it. And you had some momentum in that last inning. Got a couple of runners on. You just didn't get that big hit. Let's see if you can carry that over to this inning and get off to a good start with the co-player of the year, Lindsey Crowdis, is a good hitter to start it off.
Struck out back in the first, now hitting .453 with a .517 leadoff hitter. Oh, 1 from Watson, fouls it off and down to the count 0-2.
Crowdis, a top 25 player of the year finalist for USA softball. Top 10 in the country in batting average. Came into this week number 1 in base hits. Shattering Memphis school records. In my opinion, maybe the best offensive player, best hitter in Memphis softball history. How can you argue against her?
Right. I think you're exactly right. The 0-2 is down and away.
And think of the attention she's helped provide to the program by being a National Player of the Year finalist in the top 25. Will probably be an All-American, I would think, by the time this year is done. If she's not, then there's something wrong with something went wrong, because she is a legit All-American player.
1-2 and called strike 3 on the outside. There's 1 away.
Emily Watson saying maybe I should be an All-American too myself. When winning pitch of the year, and I can throw pitches just like this, hit it right there, painting the corner. Nothing Crowdis could do about that one.
7th strikeout today for Watson. That'll bring up Tyler Johnson, who struck out looking back in the second.
There's a Tulsa fan there that's showing the K's to make sure, confirming what you're saying.
That's what I'm going off of. How many have they hung? 0-1 on Johnson.
Yeah, put it up. The K's there up in the wall.
0-1 to Tyler.
What happens if one of them falls down? Like, do you have extras?
Takes it off. Yeah, I hope so. I hope they got them laminated with the miss today. Off speed and went around 0-2.
Watson doing a good job getting ahead of the hitters, not falling behind, staying aggressive. Wants to work quickly.
And a big swing and a miss that time, and quickly 2 outs. So came up the single, and the hit batter an inning ago has found a rhythm. That's 4 straight retired after she hit Harrell an inning ago.
This is the Emily Watson that was the pitcher of the year. Her movement on her pitches right now is rock solid. And I'm telling you, last weekend the UCF, she wasn't on top of her game. She took a loss on Sunday, and I really do believe that she is locked in right now for the tournament. After having a long winning streak, having snapped, she's ready to roll.
Nobody on, 2 down, stick rod down, 0-1. She struck out back in the second. Fouled straight back, so now down 0-2. Again, 8 strikeouts now for Watson. And you've touched on this, I know, Eric, talking about coming into this game. For her, 8 strikeouts, kind of a ho-hum type day. If you look at her ledger this year, just multiple times double-digit strikeouts, and then that 21 strikeout performance against Houston. But here's a drive in right field down the line. It's going to be a 2-out single for Stick Rod.
Now batting for the Tigers.
Good job by Stickrod to drop that ball into right field and get the second hit of the game for Memphis. With 2 outs. Getting the ball on the bat. You mentioned that 21 strikeout game. That was on April 13th. In my opinion, the game of the year in the regular season in the conference. Houston and Tulsa going 10 innings. That was the opening game of that series. Savannah Hebner and Emily Watson in a pitcher's duel. Savannah Hebner actually had a no-hitter going into extra innings into the 8th in that ball game.
Swing and a miss. 16 times this year, Watson has struck out double-digit batters, and at one point, 6 straight games starting on March 19th versus Omaha ended up with a 17 strikeout performance on April 5th at Oklahoma State.
You see Houston there warming up.
0-1 to Hadley, and that one's fouled off, now 0-2.
But that April 13th game was tremendous because the game actually got suspended due to weather. They had to finish the game the next day. So you actually had to come back the next day and restart the game, and Tulsa was able to pull it out, a 1-0 win. Watson, unbelievable game. They would go on to sweep Houston. She pitched in all 3 games. She pitched in relief in the second game and got in relief in the third game because she went 10 innings.
0-2, swing and a miss. And that is going to be strikeout number 9 for Watson to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
6-0 Tulsa as they move to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Greenville, North Carolina. Been an outstanding host for the softball championships. Got to tip your cap to the ECU administration and staff have been part of now the softball championships here. I've been here during a baseball tournament. They really do an outstanding job when they host these championships in Greenville.
They really do, and that's one of the reasons why they'll keep hosting. I think it's just a magnificent job taking care of the field and staying on top of the weather. There was a lot of concern, honestly, Jeff, before this tournament started of how many games they would even be able to get in because the weather did not look good, but they were proactive, adjusting to the schedules, and so far so good.
It'll be 9-1-2. Estacado, Hollingsworth, and Maggie with a due-up here in the 4th. Estacado drew a walk back in the 2nd, but later scored an error. 199, 353 when Estacado leads an inning off. So again, Smith staying in the circle, and there's a fly ball in the left field in the first pitch. Harrell walks in, and there's 1 up and 1 down. And quietly, we talked about Watson. Things have settled down for Molly Smith as she's now retired 7 straight.
Settling in, kind of like yesterday, right? Had that shaky first inning yesterday, got out of that jam, and then really got in a comfortable rhythm and rolled in a victory against USF. And, you know, for her, it's just, she knows there's no room for error. She has to keep throwing zeros here to have any chance of coming back here.
And Molly's really had a good tournament, even though it's a 6-0 game. Some of that damage was done before she got in. 2 Hopper to second. Lee to first, a little bit of a wide throw, but a nice play by Stickrod to stretch out and make the play. And there's 2 outs. If you look at what she's done now, that's 10 innings she's pitched in the tournament. Smith's given up only 3 runs, 2 of those earned.
And she gets a induced here, a ground ball. A little wide on the throw, but Stickrod with a nice job keeping that foot on the bag.
8 straight retired now by Smith. And here comes the pitch. Strike right down the middle. 0-1.
It's pounding the strike zone and getting ahead of the Tulsa hitters now. And you have to against a player like Maggie Withy.
The 0-1, base hit in the right field. So I'll stop the streak of 8 straight retired by Smith. Now you get into the heart of the Tulsa order, and they're dangerous even with 2 outs.
Smooth hitting by Maggie Withy. Again, pulling the ball down to the right side. Doesn't have to do too much with it. Drops it in there for a hit. That's why she's been a 2-time now first-team all-conference selection here in the American Conference.
Stafford at .348 now on the season. 4 home runs. Pair of doubles on the season. Reaches out, sends it into right center field. Long way to go as Crowdus makes up the ground to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. A runner left on base after 4. 6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Seven, 8, and 9. Parker Lee and Harold do up for the Memphis Tigers as we move to the top half of the 5th inning. And outs are getting very precious for the Tigers right now, trailing 6-0.
No question about it. And you're facing the pitcher of the year in Emily Watson, who's been unbelievably dominant in this game and also efficient. 65 pitches so far through 4 innings. And that will be something to be interesting to follow here with the big lead. Does Coach Barfeld let Watson finish this game, or does he think about maybe pulling her at some point in this game if to save her for tomorrow for the championship game?
Pop up, foul territory, and Maggie Withy makes the play from third, and there's quickly 1 out on the first pitch. Watson's only made 1 mistake, and that was the hit batter on Harrell in the third. He's given up just a pair of singles. Only 3 Tigers have reached base today.
And an out like that is exactly what you want. It's a quick out, only 1 pitch. If you're Coach Barfield, you want to try and keep this pitch count low and efficient with the big lead.
Sitting at 66 pitches right now, and there's a swing and a miss.
The most pitches she's thrown in a game this year was that 10-inning game against Houston on April 13th, 149.
This is a very good percentage. 66 pitches, 53 for strikes today.
Oh, been pounding the strike zone, attacking it. It's what made her the player of the year this year. Taking it to a different level. She had a good year last year, but she's taking it to a different level this year, the big jump. And falling in line with some of the great Tulsa pitchers. They've had great tradition with Caitlin Sill, of course, last year. Amy Kreger before that. They've always seemed to have that one dominant pitcher, and that's why they've had so much success.
The 1-1 strike call.
The challenge that Tulsa's had in their program is they're in the state of Oklahoma.
Right.
So a lot of times they get paired up in the Norman Regional with the Oklahoma Sooners. But they are really one of the top 25, top 30 softball programs in the country with a consistent winning.
1-2, and a nice backhanded play by Stafford over at first base. And there's 2 outs. That was a nice quick backhand, though that was going to shoot through at first.
And again, another quick out, keeping the ball down. Right down to first. Nice little backhand, and then just take it to first, touch the base to get the out.
So nobody on and 2 down for Hannah Harrell. Swing and a miss. Harrell was hit on the forearm back in the third, was stranded at first base.
Think about this success for Tulsa. Been to the NCAA tournament since 2006, 8 times. After this tournament, they'll make it 9.
Bunts, third base, picked up. Withy over to first in time in the inning. A 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. On to the bottom of the 5th. It's 6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
Oh, that ball is hit deep. Left field. Way back. That ball is gone. Double play ball potentially striking Stalls over to first. In time. Double play, and that ends the game.
Tulsa fans pleased with what they see so far as they're hoping to finish this thing off and make it to the championship tomorrow. Tigers still some time. They've only got 6 outs on offense, and they have to continue to hold Tulsa here and extend this ball game. We've talked about the great success and the great tradition at Tulsa. Memphis, you got to remember, still a relatively young program. They didn't start softball at Memphis until 2006. Natalie Poole took over in 2012 following the 2011 Tuscaloosa regional year for the Tigers, and they lost a lot off of that team, so kind of had to build things back. Natalie Poole's done a nice job here. 29 wins this season, her most successful season at Memphis, building it back up, breaks through, gets that American Conference tournament win yesterday.
And getting the talent pool up, too, and really great improvements. Of course, has Ellen Renfro-Reed in her second year as the assistant coach, the pitching coach, of course, the former Tennessee All-American that led the Lady Volunteers into the Women's College World Series in 2013 when they lost to Oklahoma. But Natalie Poole's done a great job, and it was huge to get that win yesterday at the conference tournament. Memphis hadn't won a conference tournament game since 2010 when they were a member of Conference USA. So it's been a long dry spell, and get that off, that monkey off your, the back is huge for Coach Poole, who's getting better talent. And it's really been a good year. You always look at the last game if things don't work out here in the next couple of innings for Memphis. But this has been a successful year, and really, they were 2, 3, 4 games away from even being higher in the standings. They lost some wild games this year.
High fly ball in the left field. Harrell over makes the catch as Bynum flies out. And if you talk about facilities, they just underwent some facility additions too. Expanded locker rooms, on-site indoor hitting facilities. So at the Tiger softball complex, they have some big things going on.
Well,
right
and
now.
You need to do that because look at where we're at today, for example. Look at the facilities here at East Carolina. That's the competition and recruiting standpoint. Not to mention Memphis is in the state where Tennessee, of course, resides. So you're competing with the big power school like Tennessee. So it's and it takes time. It's going to take time. You mentioned the program's only existed since 2006. And really, when you think about that, the fact they've only been in existence since 2006, they've really maybe even been ahead of schedule. A lot of programs, it takes a while to even be competitive.
1-0 here to Maddie Withy, who's over 2. Couple of pop-ups, the short and the second. Takes one inside. We talked about this athletic complex at ECU. It was started off by Terry Holland. That's the Holland Athletic Complex here. And talked to Jeff Comfort yesterday a little bit. Haley did. Memphis under the leadership of Tom Bowen, their athletic director. Sort of that Time to Shine campaign, that $40 million campaign. You see the improvements, the new basketball facility, practice facility going up, the improvements for the football facility going up on the Park Avenue campus of Memphis. Seeing the additions of baseball, they have some additions. still pending up here this summer in the softball editions as well. They're hoping here in the next few years to get men's and women's soccer back on the campus at the university.
And that's what you need to do, and that's fantastic. And I think that the Memphis is really kind of changing because, from the outside point of view, for a long time, Memphis was thought of, and still does to a degree, it's a basketball school, and that's all that matters over there in Memphis, a basketball school. But you mentioned the football program the last few years has taken off. They've had tremendous success there, and I think the future's still bright, even with the coaching changes there, going from Justin Fuente to Norville. They're going to be a conference contender, championship contender this year. Some people might be the preseason pick going into the football season. So a lot of people thought they could never be successful in football at Memphis. Now they've proven that wrong, and I think they're starting to show people they can be competitive as well. Baseball had a tremendous run in the conference tournament last year, getting deep into the tournament. And they've shown now that they're capable of competing, and I think softball's headed in the same direction.
Here's Morgan Neal, had the 2-run double on the base hit to right field. That'll be her second hit of the day. And Tulsa has first and second with just one out. And here's where Molly Smith's going to have to bear down. Tulsa now smelling blood, trying to end this game here in the 5th.
Well, and I think if Tulsa, again, I'm sure Coach Barfeld in that dugout is saying, listen, if we get 2 runs here, we cut the day short, and we can start focusing on the championship game here. We're that close. The finish line is there. Let's just finish them off. But it's going to be really tricky here now for Molly Smith to be careful here, because with 2 on and 1 out, you don't want to press here against Spell, because if you hang a pitch here, Spell can end this game in one swing.
Up and out, misses. So Maddie Withy walks of 1 out. Neal base hit to right field. And you've got Hughes, who's doubled already, standing on deck. Bottom third of the order has gone 1 for 5 with the walks. So they've been on 2 out of 6 times at a .333 clip.
You talk about the athletic department in Memphis, and let me just remind, Memphis has great tradition in women's soccer.
Right.
It's been very good. So there's a lot of potential out there, and now they're kind of putting the pieces in place and helping the coaches like a Natalie Poole.
Now it is fouled straight back, now 1-1. Now you mentioned football. Tulsa's going to have something to say about that division this year. They're going to be pretty good this season.
Might be the 2 favorites in that division. Certainly Houston, with Major Applewhite as a head coach.
Well, their football stadium's gone through some massive renovations. Of course, that basketball arena, I call it the new arena. It's really not new anymore, but that's an outstanding facility they have. Here's a fly ball into center. Crowdis up under it and makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
Big out there, get Spell, and not advancing the runners, keeping them at first and second. A lot of times, if you get 2 runners in scoring position, a base hit, and the game is over. So that was huge, not only to get the out, but to keep get a fly out that the runners could not advance on.
Yeah, you want to keep Morgan Neal over at first base, and they did just that. Here is Shannon Hughes. So instead of being maybe a hit away, they'd be 2 hits away, and Memphis an out away from getting back on offense here. That one's fouled straight back. Again, 3 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second has stood up for Tulsa. Hughes up to 245 now, a .315 hitter with 2 outs in an inning. 0-1, strike called, Dow 0-2, and Smith a strike away from getting out of the inning.
You saw Crowdis make the catch, and Crowdis is going to help Coach Poole even beyond this, because now Natalie Poole can tell recruits, hey, you can come to Memphis and be a Player of the Year finalist. You could be an All-American if you come to Memphis.
0-2. He's outside now, 1-2.
Sometimes it takes getting a player like Crowdis to really put the program on the map. Reminds me of football when D'Angelo Williams was at Memphis. That was I think that put Memphis football on the map. You should see Crowdis there. She, I think, has definitely put softball on the map with the year she's had, being a top 25 Player of the Year finalist. Probably he's going to be an All-American.
Well, it's become the face of the program. Remember early on, a pitching-heavy team in the early years under Jenna Kubich, and that's kind of who you related the program to. But now Lindsay on offense this season. Here is the 1-2 now to Hughes. Ground ball in the hole at short. Backhand. Go to third for the force out. Nice play by Trostler.
Smart play by Trostler, knowing that that's a tough play to throw to first. You got the force out at third. Easier play, and you get out of the inning.
No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 left on base. We played 5-6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
The University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Now the 7 schools in the America that play softball, the flag's blowing out toward left field. Haven't had anything close to a home run today, even though we have a light breeze. I think with the humidity and the mist, it's kind of killed anything that's going to travel. When it's warm, and if you get that warm weather and sunny weather tomorrow, Eric, you could fly out like it has the last 2 days.
No question about that. And next year when we're at the softball tournament, they're going to have one more flag up there to be adding there with Wichita State joining the league. It'll be an 8-team league in softball and a natural rival for Tulsa. They play a lot in midweeks. They're very close. They'll be probably travel partners.
That'll also balance out the tournament. You'll be done with the bye for the number 1 seed, so all 8 institutions will play straight through. 1-0 to Trostler, fouls it off.
Wichita State, very good softball program, made the NCAA tournament last year, winning the Missouri Valley. So that's a nice addition to this league, which I think is going to be even stronger next year when you think about a lot of the talent that'll be coming back. Tulsa returns a lot of personnel just from this team. They're probably going to be the favorites again next year. Houston returns a lot of the personnel, including their pitchers. UCF returns a lot of players, including their ace freshman pitcher, Aaliyah White. Cassidy Brewer, first-team all-conference. USF still has a lot of youth. My point is, I think that next year this league is going to be really stacked and will be easily a multiple-bid league with the experience that a lot of the young players this year gathered.
Should go back to being probably a 3-bid type league. Fly ball to left field, caught by a Hollingsworth. 1 away. You talked about Wichita State this year, 32-19, 16-9 in the Missouri Valley. So they'll be kind of waiting around for the selection show to see if they're able to get into. With 32 wins, they seem to be. You never know what happens on a selection when the committee goes in there, but at 32-19, sitting, I think, in decent shape.
Obviously, how you do in the conference tournament plays a role in that, and a lot of things. But certainly. And Tulsa knows all about Wichita State. They play every year in the midweeks, and then they've had some great battles there. So that'll be a nice rivalry added in there, kind of like UCF, USF in the state of Florida with their War on I-4 rivalry they've got going on. I think you might see something like that with Wichita State and Tulsa.
Well, for everyone, here's a slow roller at first will roll foul. For everyone in the league, that gives you 3 additional RPI games. That's going to be good resume builder. That's going to elevate everyone. 1-1 now here on Addison Maxwell, who has struck out and grounded out.
Well, and the big thing about Wichita State, a lot of the national media focused on their men's basketball program and what they're going to bring in, rightfully so. But that the baseball program with the tradition that Wichita State
put them on the map.
Absolutely.
And there's a line drive caught at third by Maggie Withy. Maggie's been pretty good over at third today.
She's been good just about 3 years there.
Right.
She's been rock solid since she walked on campus at Tulsa, making a nice catch there for the second out of the inning.
When you have the success like they've had this year, and they're good on offense, solid on the pitching, a lot of time it overlooks just how good their defense is. Strike call on the outside to Lindsey Crowdis over 2. She struck out swinging and looking today.
And what could be her final at-bat as a Memphis Tiger if they don't come back here. What a career, what a year. How fortunate have you been if you're a Memphis fan the last couple of years? You had Lindsey Crowdis here at softball. You had Paxton Lynch in football, who ended up being a first-round pick quarterback. for the Tigers. You've seen some great talent over in that campus there.
1-1 to Crowdis. Crowdis pops it up behind home plate. That'll get out of play.
Maybe the best softball player, one of the best female athletes in the history of the campus in Memphis, and maybe the best quarterback ever in Memphis football, arguably, and certainly a high draft pick in Paxton Lynch.
No doubt the best quarterback.
Okay,
I'll tell you that.
I was deferring to you on that.
Then the different generations, you're going to get into a argument over the best football player. There is a called strike 3 on the outside in the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. On to the bottom of the 6th, the 6-0 Tulsa lead on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Six nothing. Tulsa as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Tigers are going to have any kind of chance to rally in the 7th. They got to hang one more to 0 here and then just take your chances. But Emily Watson's been very good today. And again, Molly Smith today came in after some damage was done. But Molly Smith, going back to yesterday, 11 1/3, has only surrendered 3 runs to earn in her tournament outing.
Certainly should get consideration of an all-tournament team type player. What a tournament she's had, and she's done a great job since coming in. Really had that 1 second inning where a lot of things defensively breakdowns for Memphis cost them 3 runs. But other than that, she shut them down and has kept Memphis in this game. She's done her part. What a fantastic tournament! And the exciting thing, if you're a Memphis fan, she'll be back.
Right.
Novak will be back.
First pitch up and out. 1-0 to Shelby Estacado.
And I think a tournament like this, the performance for Molly Smith, she can carry this into next year and take another step even.
Upstairs, Natalie Poole. Now, we talked about Natalie Poole's team having their best season under Coach Poole. And you talk about the players that are going to be back. Yes, you lose a Crowdis and a Stick Rod, a Hannah Harrell, Callie Irvin, but that's 4 seniors. You're losing 4 seniors off this team. And they've won 29 games this year. This could be a team, depending on how the rest of them develop for next year and the newcomers that they could get. And you don't want to jump too far ahead, but if things play right next year, you never know if they're in some kind of regional contention a year from now. Ground ball. That'll get in the hole past Trosclair and Parker diving, just snuck through. Nice effort, but it's going to be a leadoff single for Estacado.
Good start for Estacado here in the bottom of the 6th with the leadoff hit. But to bring up to your point, you bring back experienced pitching, because some of those young players develop. Lindsey Crowdis wasn't an All-American at first. She just developed into one. And I think some of these players like Parker, who's an all-rookie team this year, can develop to even be better. And that, you're right, the growth of those young players. And you're right, could be a team that could be in the mix next year.
Popped it foul, left side out of play. And you talked about the pitching depth, is that you do have Molly Smith back next year, a junior, and you do have the redshirt junior Christian Novak back next season. They're going to have a pretty good 1-2 punch next season.
And that's without knowing they'll probably have a freshman coming in as well. So, again, the future is bright. The fruits of the labor of the coaching staff is really coming into fruition.
Fly ball left center field. Crowdis over. And there's one away.
Now batting for Tulsa, number 20, Maggie Whitby.
And the best thing is you don't have to worry about, man, are they ever going to win a conference tournament? They've won a conference tournament game. Now they know the taste of winning a conference tournament game. And if they don't come back here today, maybe they use this disappointment as motivation going into next season.
On the other side, though, John Barfeld losing only 3 seniors from a 37-win team. Here's Maggie Withy, and the Withys will be gone after the season, as well as Brittany Walker.
The Withy sisters will be a big loss for them, but they do return, of course, Watson. That's the big thing. They return Watson. Hollingsworth will be back. They're still going to be, again, I think they'll be the favorites going into next season based on the personnel they got returning. And it's just the consistency from Coach Barfeld, making the NCAA tournaments in 2006, 2008, 2009, 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 16. And remember, we talked about in 2015, they were probably one swing away from making the tournament that year. So, unbelievable excellence from Coach Barfeld.
Where he fouls it off to the left side, down 1-2. Tulsa's got Estacado at first and 1 away. In the 7th, Memphis will have Johnson, Stickrod, and Hadley. That's 4, 5, and 6 due up in their order.
Barfeld has won 5 tournament titles since being at Tulsa, including last year.
1-2 up and out now, 2-2.
They're 3 outs away from going back to the American Athletic Conference Championship game for a 3rd year in a row. But even before that, in their last year in Conference USA, they won the championship tournament then in 2014. So as a program, that would be 4 straight championship games in the tournament. And that's the thing. They could play in any league.
Popped it out of play.
Was huge for the American Athletic Conference to get to Tulsa and really bring the softball program even up to a different level. You know, when you look at the softball powers in this league with Tulsa and UCF and USF, probably, and now Houston looks like coming back on the revival under Coach Vesley. I mean, the future of this league in softball, I think it's going to be tremendous. And the future of the spring is what I'm excited about this league. Baseball, which you'll be at in Clearwater in a couple of weeks. Oh, it may be as exciting of a conference tournament as it gets. Looking at another year with 3 bids at least, maybe 4.
If UConn finishes strong, they're going to be in good shape for a potential 4 teams that can get an at-large. And if someone from the bottom 4 wins it, you might sneak 5 in there. And that's the thing with Wichita State coming into the league next year. This could go from being the 2 to 3 bid league to the 3 to 4 bid softball league. Here is the 3-2 popped up. At home plate coming in at third is Parker. There's 2 away. Corey Stafford is 1 for 2. Singled, a sac fly, and a fly out to center.
Molly Smith right now trying to get one more and really finish a strong note here. Tremendous performance here. If she can get this out, to give Memphis at least one more opportunity here in the 7th.
Popped it up in the center, and Crownis makes the catch. Molly Smith in the tournament, 12 1/3 innings, 3 runs, and 2 earned in the inning. It's going to be no runs, 1 hit, no errors. A runner left on base. We go to the 7th. 6-0 Tulsa on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
University of Tulsa, a top 50 private institution.
Tigers down to the last 3 outs in the season. They're going to need 6 runs to extend their season today, and it's against the pitch of the year that's thrown a 2-hitter today, no walks, and 10 strikeouts today. So the 17th double-digit strikeout performance today by Watson. Natalie Pohl going to get Callie Irvin, one of her 4 seniors, into the ball game out of Plano, Texas, and Plano Senior High School.
Try to give Watson a different look, and like you said, give a senior maybe one more at bat in her career.
Watson's first pitch to Irvin. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Irvin's 14th game this season. Has a home run, is driven in 3. 0-1 to the right-hander. Swing and a miss, that one tailed down and away. So Watson, 85 pitches so far. Called strike 3. And there's one away. That'll be strikeout number 11.
It's just been lights out. I mean, she has been dominant.
Number 21,
Perfect pitch right there. And that's why, Jeff, looking ahead to tomorrow, Tulsa will be the favorites against Houston because of number 25. Emily Watson, if she pitches like this today, we're in for a heck of a championship game tomorrow.
Popped up on the infield to the right side. At first is Stafford, and the Tigers down to the last out. 17 double-digit strikeout performances this year by the pitcher of the year, Emily Watson.
And I think we're headed. I think we got the 2 best teams in the league going at it tomorrow. They were the 2 best teams in the regular season, and I think we're going to have the 2 best pitchers in the league going at it tomorrow. I think with Watson and Savannah Hinder, they had the game of the year in that 10-inning classic on April 13th. They might serve up another classic tomorrow.
I think if anyone told you tomorrow's game may be a 1-0 final, no one would be surprised.
Nope. The way these 2 are pitching, I would expect that.
Hadley ahead, 1-0. Pair of strikeouts for Hadley today. Ground ball in the hole at short, picked up by Hughes. Long throw, and it'll be a single with 2 outs for Hadley.
Good job by Hadley. Second team all-conference, getting that ball deep in the hole and getting herself a hit to keep this alive.
Parker singled in the 3rd. She was the first Tiger to reach today with that leadoff single in the 3rd inning. Popped up the 3rd and the 5th.
Maybe the future of the Memphis offense moving forward.
Takes a strike, Athens, 0-1.
All rookie selection this year.
Again, noon Eastern tomorrow, 11 Central. The 2-seed Houston waiting for the final in this game. The 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And if Watson retires Parker here, it's going to be 1 versus 2 tomorrow at noon Eastern. Watson checks. Here's the 0-2. Popped it up left side, foul territory. Withy has it, and that will end the ball game as the Tulsa Golden Hurricane in familiar position back to the championship.
3 straight years, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane will be in the American Athletic Conference Championship. They lost it in 2015 to UCF at UCF on a walk-off homer by Samantha McCloskey. Last year they won it, defeating the South Florida Bulls in Tulsa, and now this year they will face the Houston Cougars. The top 2 teams in the regular season will battle it out for the automatic bid tomorrow in what should be a classic as the Cougars and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. A lot of history with those 2 programs, and that'll be a big battle going into tomorrow with Tulsa certainly looking to go back-to-back in the conference championship, trying to become the first team to win the tournament title back-to-back years, while Houston looking for the win just to punch a ticket into the NCAA tournament and return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2014.
Emily Watson, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, struck out 11, and she's standing by with Haley out.
Emily, congratulations on this win. Now, your team had to wait a couple days to finally get involved here in the conference tournament. How did it feel to finally get to play a game and have the performance that you did today?
It kind of felt like forever, but now that we're out here, it feels great. We're finally getting to play.
You had a great start in last year's conference tournament as well. How has your role changed this year after Caitlin Sill graduated last year? How has your role changed here in the championship?
Well, there's always that adrenaline, so like we're always going to play our best out here. But role changing, I guess we just all come together as a team and I don't know. Role's still the same, I feel like, but I don't know, I'm drawing a blank.
No worries. Well, you're going to have to step up big again tomorrow. Houston's playing some great ball this time of year. You guys were out here watching them yesterday. What did you see?
Sorry, I was thinking about the last question.
What's that?
I was thinking about the last question. Okay, ask you again.
Oh, no worries. So you've been seeing Houston out here this week as well. You met them earlier this season, facing them tomorrow in the final. What did you see from them? What makes them such a tough team to go up against?
They have some really great hitters, and they're just a tough team, and we're just going to have to play our best against them.
All right, thanks a lot, Emily. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Haley. Again, Emily, outstanding performance today. 7 innings, 3 hits, a shutout, no walks, her 17th double-digit strikeout performance here today with 11 strikeouts. And Natalie Poole's ball club ends the year of 29 wins. The best season under head coach Natalie Poole, including that tournament win. And now John Barfeld down on the field, standing by with Haley.
Coach, great start for your team here in the conference tournament, able to put some runs up on the board early. How did you feel about their start today?
Well, just really proud of the way they started. You know, you couldn't ask for anything better. Big 2-out hit in that first inning was a key. Yeah, if you could draw something up, you know, to get off to a start, that was it.
Emily Watson named the conference's pitcher of the year earlier this week. 11 strikeouts today, great performance from her. How impressed have you been with her this season?
Just been very impressed. You know, she's pitched against a lot of quality teams this year, and you know, a lot of people have trouble squaring her up, and she gives the team a lot of confidence. You know, they know that if they can go out and get some runs on the board, it's going to be awfully tough for the other team to score.
A chance to claim a back-to-back title tomorrow. Have to face a Houston team that you have been watching here this week play some pretty good softball. Savannah Huebner has been the team hero throughout the week, but you saw him earlier this season. What makes them such a tough opponent to go up against, and what do you guys need to do tomorrow?
Well, they just have quality athletes. You know, they have good hitters, and they've got solid pitching, and so, you know, a lot of times it comes down to execution in those games. You know, who's on their game that day, and that's the type of game it'll be next game with tomorrow with Houston.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. We'll see you out here tomorrow. Best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Haley and Eric. That's how it shapes up, and hard to believe we started the tournament a day early due to the weather, but now we're already to the last game.
First of all, fantastic job by the league and everybody, the grounds crew here. Got the games in, got the games on schedule, and we got the two best teams playing for the championship. That's what it's all about. Tulsa and Houston. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Savannah Huebner, Emily Watson, two of the best pitchers, the two best pitchers in the league, the two of the best pitchers in the country. It's going to be dramatic every time those two teams play. I don't expect it to be any different tomorrow.
Well, that wraps it up for the preliminary games. And again, the championship tomorrow at noon Eastern. Again, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, a 6-0 winner over the Memphis Tigers here this afternoon in the semifinals. That'll wrap it up from Greenville. For my broadcast partners, Haley Outen and Eric Lopez, and all of our production staff behind the scenes who did an outstanding job. I'm Jeff Brightwell, and thanks for joining us here in the American Softball Championships.